Well, speaking of parental rights and involvement in education, as Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin pledged when running for office, the Virginia Department of Education recently released revised standards for educators in the state. The new standard strengthens, you guessed it, the right of parents to direct the care and education of their children regarding gender identities, including names, pronouns, counseling, and social transitioning while at school. So how are Virginia parents responding, and what is the left saying? Joining me now to discuss this is Virginia Secretary of Education, Aimee Guidera. Secretary Guidera, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me back, Tony. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So provide us a quick overview of what these new guidelines provide.
I'd be happy to. The updated model policies restore parent rights. The prior administration had issued model policy around around issues of how to handle transgender students in classrooms and in schools, and they were literally directing schools to keep parents in the dark. And this administration, as you know, believes deeply, and that we have code, we have statute backing us up, that parents must be the people in charge of making the decisions about their child's health, their well-being, and their education. And these model policies ensure that parents are not just at the table making these decisions, that they are part of the conversation and that they're head of the table, and ensuring that parents are making the decisions about their child, especially at this most important topic about their identity. They also ensure that we are creating safe and vibrant environments for all of our children to be going to school. And so we believe that this is a step forward, and we're hearing from people that this is just a common sense solution, and that is something that people are embracing and are recognizing that this is a very important thing to do. And the response that we've heard has been very, very reinforcing.
So, counter to what we were just talking about earlier in our program with New Jersey and California, this lays out four primary principles, chief among them engaging parents in the education, but as you said, creating safe environments for everyone. But this is model legislation or model guidance. It's not law. It is not hard requirements. So what happens if a school district decides, we're not going to do this?
These are model policies, and that the law says that every single school board shall adopt this model policy or adopt one that is aligned or even more aligned with the thoughts in here, or something that is even like it, but even more in the spirit in which we issued this. So the expectation is that every single school board in Virginia will review these and adopt these.
So parents will have a voice in Virginia over these factors, these educational concerns of their children.
They will. I mean, we hope that lots of parents will be showing up at local school boards to be part of these conversations and to reinforce how important this is for parents, that their voices be heard in these conversations, and that once again, that parents are in the driver's seat, that they're at the head of the table and making decisions about their child's health, well-being, and mental well-being and health being as well.
I mean, as you said, this is just common sense. I mean, who in most cases, and I think we have to look at the general population, who other than parents have the most vested in the outcomes of their children, whether it's their social experience or their educational experience? Parents. I think this
Absolutely.
is common sense.
Absolutely, Tony. And I'm a mom of two daughters. I cannot imagine that if one of my children were going through an identity crisis, trying to figure out who they were, that if I were not part of that conversation during a time when my daughters needed me more than ever before, that if our schools were keeping me out of that conversation rather than bringing me in and alerting to me that things were going on in my child's life that I might not be aware of, it would be terrible. And so I think that is why most parents are very thankful that Governor Youngkin and our administration has put out these model policies, because they affirm what we all know, that parents are the most important mentors, supporters, champions, and providers of love and support in our children's lives, and that we have to be part of these conversations.
So why are there so many that are dead set against allowing parents to be involved in these decisions? What's motivating them?
So we've seen this in so many parts of education, and this is why Governor Youngkin is in office today, is that we've seen that schools think that they know best and that they can tell parents and tell students what they think is best for them. And this is why every single thing that we do in the Youngkin administration is about reinforcing the vital role that parents play in making sure that their children gets the education that they need, and that parents have a say in that. We continue to double down on that message that parents matter, and we know that in this area especially, that if we want to ensure that we are setting up school environments which not just welcome in parents, but also welcome the partnership between teachers and parents and students to work
Right.
together. We know, and the research shows us, that when parents, teachers, and students work together, students thrive and they flourish. And so we are all about creating those positive working relationships between schools, parents, and students. But we also know in that relationship, parents' voices must be heard.
Yes, it's a collaborative effort. Secretary, I commend you for following through on this and staying with it. I know it's not been easy. I also commend the governor for keeping his campaign promises. It's refreshing to see, and it's inspiring parents all across this nation to be involved in the education of their children. Always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for covering this. Bye.